Welcome to MISCELLANEO-PEDIA. And as we all know that war has broken out between Russia and Ukraine, it's been 11 days and none of the country is ready to lay down their weapons. Meanwhile, we have all heard a term NATO. For those who do not know what does NATO stand for, what is its purpose and how many countries come in the list of NATO, I am here to give a description of NATO in simple words. See, NATO is actually an international cross-country alliance which stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was established on 4th April 1949, 4 years after World War II, when the West were worried about another attack by the Soviet Union. The provision of Article 5 of NATO says, in the attack on any member country, it would be considered as an attack on all the signatory countries, and all the countries of the treaty would unitedly fight the situation by means of military action. Currently, the NATO's political headquarters is in Brussels, Belgium. Let me tell you, there was another reason for European countries to support the establishment of NATO was Western European countries suffered heavy losses during World War II, and America was a great hope for their economic reconstruction. As a result, these countries agreed with UK and US to came together to sign a treaty in Washington DC. Today there are total 30 member countries in NATO, but when NATO was formed, it has only these 12 founding member countries: America, Britain, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway and Portugal. Now, what's the purpose of NATO? Basically, this organization works on the policy to provide security, support, and a united front when any of its member countries are frightened by another. Currently, NATO describes themselves as both a political and military alliance, but initially, the treaty was no more than just a political organization. It has made a system of collective security and military alliance after the Korean War. And these are the list of 30 member countries of NATO. NATO is headed by the former Norwegian Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg, 62, and he will remain Secretary General of NATO till September 2022. Report says the next leader would be any female or Eastern European. How do countries join NATO? NATO says its membership is open to any other European states. Countries who wish to join NATO must follow a membership action plan, which is an online application process that involves outlining security and political policies. Plus, these are the minimum requirements that aspiring countries should be able to meet. What is the matter between Russia, Ukraine and NATO? Today, neither Ukraine is a member of NATO nor Russia is its part. But what is the reason for the separation of both the countries from NATO? Well, expectedly, Ukraine can't be its member because Russia doesn't want it to be. Also, President Vladimir Putin has said that he sees the country's aspirations to join NATO as a threat to Russia's borders. You know why? For this, we have to go back in history for some time. See, during World War II, Soviet Union was collapsed with these 15 republic countries, which includes Russia and Ukraine. And seeing their strength, after 4 years of World War II in 1949, America created NATO to be more powerful and leading nation among all. At that time, the Russia-dominated Soviet Union, which grew into one of the world's most powerful countries, ignored NATO, but gradually, the member countries of NATO increased in Europe. NATO gave a big blow to Russia when the members of Soviet Union like Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia and others joined NATO. In 2020, NATO became treaty organization of total 30 countries. Russia's aggression escalated when NATO had reached the door of Russia through Ukraine, as it was going to be 31st member of NATO. And that is the reason of Russia-Ukraine war. Wait, it means it is not a Russia versus Ukraine. Instead, it's a Soviet Union versus NATO. Though Ukraine has the support of NATO members over Russia's invasion, like US President Joe Biden has announced $350 million of American weapons. Also, some NATO countries have pledged military aid to Ukraine, but no member country of NATO is openly sending their armies to help it. Maybe because Ukraine has not yet become a member of NATO. Well, that is all about NATO. Stay tuned with me for more such preeminent information. Thanks for watching.